Hello and welcome everybody. This is the October 25 community update. We are going to start in a couple minutes. We're going to give everyone the opportunity to join and then we're going to kick it off. So in the meantime, lean back, listen to the music, and we'll be there right away.
Hi everyone, also warm welcome from my side. Looking forward to today's community update and we hope that so are you. Stay tuned.
Also a warm welcome from my side. Looking forward to this update this month and looking forward to all your questions later on too.
All right, we're just going to wait a couple more seconds and we're going to start right away. Okay, hello and welcome. Nice to have you, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to listen to this update, either live or once we stream it later on, or once it has been streamed. Again, this is the ONINO community update, October 2025. Today I have Lucas and Kai, and we're going to go through some updates. Specifically, we're going to talk about partnerships, the Maxi listing, the Web3 Hub launch, the public ONINO platform launch, upcoming events and teasers. We have the main strategic focus, the roadmap, bits and pretzels, tokenization platform, and blockchain. So as you see, the timeline is packed. So without further ado, I would say let's jump right into it. And Lucas is going to take over here.
Yes, so we're just going to have a quick recap of our partnerships from the last few weeks. And the first one is a more infrastructure-led partnership with TradeVibe, built by our trusted partners over at CIDT. We already had a few communications around this. And you can expect a lot of more communication information over on TradeVibe's dedicated channels, where we highly encourage you to give them a follow. They will enable everyone to spin up their validator node and take part in securing the network just at a few clicks, and you don't even need any technical expertise. This is a great partnership for us to grow the decentralization of our network, and a really great partnership that is dedicated to our community to make everything accessible at the tip of your finger at the end of the day. So we highly encourage you. The people over at TradeVibe are doing a humongous job of making it simple for anyone to use. And we're really looking forward for when they will launch the platform. And again, give them a follow and you can look forward to a lot of communication coming on their channels. A few other partnerships that we just want to quickly recap so everyone is on the same level of information are the ones on the next slide, which are essentially 3 partnerships released in the last month with GBeast, DexRP, and Genesis. We had, interestingly enough, some media coverage that got picked up on the first partnership and also did a great and interesting AMA with Genesis. And we want you to be aware that these partnerships, while being announced now, there are a lot of things that will take time when working with them. If you take a look, for example, with DexRP, it is quite clear where the vision is behind the partnership, and Genesis also has a huge network that we can leverage. So there are more things to follow on those, but in general. If you have any questions, let us know in regards to these partnerships. Then also another recap from this month. We had a big milestone in terms of making the network more accessible as we officially integrated on the MaxC exchange. As you probably know, it was not just a simple listing like of any other token. It was a full-fledged integration into the exchange's infrastructure. So MaxC, for example, they are also running their own nodes. They are completely querying the network, and they are also opening up the exchange for any future project to be also listed there that is natively deployed on the ONINO network. So this is a big step forward and fully aligned with our focus on making the network more accessible. And we've also seen a big influx actually in the validator pools, a lot of more people migrating over that time frame, and a lot of new people joining the ONINO community that are all currently experiencing a very healthy APR and staking. If you have not, you can either wait until Trade Vibe that I mentioned before is live, or go directly to staking.onino.io or wallet.onino.io to further help secure the network. And then the last recap, I believe Alex will take over what happened before that.
Exactly. Thank you, Lucas. All right. Yeah, the next thing is the launch of the Web3 Hub. It's our name for the onino.foundation website. So www.onino.foundation is where you will find it. And essentially, it's a hub for everything Web3 at ONINO. ONINO.io, our main website, is really focused around what we offer and the solutions we have, which is financing through tokenization in a very short summary. And everything we have on ONINO.foundation is what the ONINO ecosystem gives you and opens up to. If we, for example, talk about the ONI token, the ONI blockchain, the ONINO blockchain, subchains, and everything else, and what the network brings. And the two audiences are so different that we really chose to have specific websites for each of those. This update has been in the works for a long time, and we're really happy to have it live right now. And we see that the media interest is increasing as well, because there's not many projects like ONINO that have their blockchain, a subchain framework, and a tokenization platform. So this really sets us apart because everything around the ONINO ecosystem is built for tokenization. And you must have seen, and we also had a team member at Token 2049, for example, who reported that there was a lot of interest in institutional through tokenization. And we really see a huge inflow of interest through the very, very big companies. And the whole financing world essentially is going to be tokenized at some point. And we are perfectly positioned at ONINO with the infrastructure for it and the platform for it. And this is what we're portraying on the ONINO Web3 Hub. Yeah, long story short, this was a long story, but I think this little deep dive is very interesting. So head over to onino.foundation to have a look at it and learn more. Then the next big launch, and it's an even bigger one, is the ONINO platform launch, the ONINO financing and the ONINO tokenization platform. And we have set the release date for next Friday, the 17th of October. And this platform really is the showcase for the platform that, for essentially what the ONINO platform can offer. It's going to be live there right away, and it's a central hub for future tokenized projects by ONINO, and it serves many purposes. On one hand, it is a platform where you will be able to actively invest in projects once they're live. We will not be launching with live projects on the 17th, just a little heads up, but there will be live projects very soon. We have been in talks with multiple different companies. Those things take time because we focus on compliance and regulation, and the more those things come into play, the longer it takes. Compared to traditional finance, it's still extremely quick. But if we compare it with crypto, where you can create a token and have an emission right away, yeah, it's a different ballpark, let's be honest. And this needs to be clear. So things are not going to take seconds to create and then days to fill up. We're just talking different time schemes. But if we compare where crypto stands and where the traditional finance world stands, it's a whole revolution. So it's really a big thing. And another showcase or another purpose that's interesting for this platform is that it will also serve us for sales and as a public demo platform for every potential client of ONINO that is interested in using the ONINO white label framework. Because if you don't know, or if you've forgotten, we offer the exact same platform to customers that want to have an instance of this platform self-hosted in their design for their audiences. And there's a lot of interest there. And we even see specialists that say that this is going to be bigger than just tokenization itself for individual projects and for individual finances. It's going to be those white label tokenization platforms. Think about banks, for example. They can offer their corporate clients to fund their projects through the platform, and their private clients to invest into those projects. Think about bigger companies that have multitudes of projects that are launching over and over again. All those will benefit from a platform to tokenize financial assets, to make them available to the broader public. And what's really interesting in the platform that we have built is that we have a co-listing feature. So although there is going to be a multitude of different platforms, one for, let's say, real estate in Germany, another for solar, another that's going to be the general purpose ONINO platform, there's still the possibility to co-list assets on multiple different of those platforms. So it's really, the ONINO platform is going to be the core and central instance. You can sign up right away on app.onino.io. And this is also the domain where it's going to go live on Friday, the 17th. Then, like I mentioned, the white label platforms are a focus, and I wanted to dive deeper into that. And essentially how it works is that we provide ONINO customers with their own white label platform, which means it's literally a copy of the platform, and they have it in their design, hosted on their website with their specific audiences. And like I said, those platforms are all connected via the co-listing feature, where they can list assets not just on their platform, but on others as well. This is what you focus on, because we have seen institutional finance really happening, and crypto is getting there, and tokenization is really something that's going to be very big. Asset tokenization as kind of a digital twin of a physical asset represented on-chain is the future, because it's extremely efficient, extremely secure, and a standard that everyone can agree on. And this is really what we're focusing on at the moment, because it's really the bigger opportunity for ONINO as well. And in total makes up for a really great offering of solutions that we have with the ONINO platform, white label instances of the ONINO platform, the ONINO blockchain, and ONINO subchains. They all complete the ecosystem. Then, talking about what we do is one thing, bringing it out to the world is the other. We're going to attend a couple more projects this year. The first is going to be an ONINO in-house event, the ONINO tokenization event, and it's going to take place on the 30th of October, so at the beginning of this month, at the end of this month. And what we're planning here is to bring together platform providers of said white label instances that I just talked about, issuers, so those are the ones that have the assets and that want to tokenize them and will tokenize them, and investors, the ones that are bringing in the money and investing in the assets. And it's going to be a case study event where we bring in those partners, those individuals that I just mentioned, and we're going to go through specific cases and in workshop style and fashion, bring those projects forward to accelerate the lead pipeline that we have and build new ones. Then we have the Web Summit in Lisbon, the biggest tech conference. We've been there every year since the start of ONINO, and we're going to be there again this year. It's in mid-November. And then at the end of November, the Slush in Helsinki, we're going to be there for the first time. And it's really one of the most innovative conferences. We have not been there yet, but really looking forward to it, to seeing how the conference is going to be. From what we've heard, it's amazing, and really looking forward to have another new conference to bring ONINO to spread the word and to bring more users into the ONINO ecosystem. And with that, let's conclude it with a little teaser. And the teaser is that we're preparing a platform that will bring much more than just the advantages of tokenization to our customers. So think about it. For every platform user that we have the profile. So we know that this company, for example, is in real estate and that they're looking to build a building and finance it. And we have many partners and providers that we talk on a daily basis that will help them along the way. For example, it will always need a lawyer because they will always need to have the legal structuring of their asset. They may need someone for marketing. They may need someone for financing and all those things. And we're bringing and creating an AI matching platform of those companies. So all our customers that are tokenizing assets on the ONINO platform will not just benefit of the ONINO platform, of the ONINO tokenization ecosystem and the ONINO tokenization engine, but also of our partner network. And this is what we're building up, the partnerships that Lucas has been mentioning in the beginning, but many more traditional Web2 partnerships, I would call them as well, with lawyers, with marketing agencies, with financial institutes or financing companies that help, and all to help our companies and customers be as successful as possible, not just in the fields that we specialize on, which is tokenization, but also in the fields that others specialize on. And all driven by AI in the end, because that's something that AI is really good at, is matching those individual projects. So really looking forward to that. We've been building the partnership network and are going to continue building it to offer as much value as possible for the companies tokenizing. And for the others, it's a new customer acquisition channel. So it's very interesting for those as well, because the customers that we have acquired then later on can even benefit other solution providers through the platform. Okay, but I've been talking a lot, and now I'm going to pass it on to mainnet strategy focus.
Yes, awesome. So we just wanted to give a quick update about what our strategic focus with our own network is. As everyone knows, we don't want to be an Ethereum killer like it was previously, kind of a narrative. We really want to be a purpose-built ecosystem and network for a specific use case. And we thought a lot about how we can break it down, that it's most understandable. And we came up with just a simple segmentation into 4 different things that we are trying to tackle one after another for our blockchain network. Generally, our goal is to position our blockchain and our brand in a way that we are a leader for tokenization in Europe, and that we are a brand and blockchain that people can trust on, because we've put a lot of focus on doing the basic work that is often the hardest one. We're talking a lot about the compliance here, being close to regulators, and building everything we do to make it scale long term in the future. But we of course also know that you as a community and the end user will need something to do. So there are 4 key things that we're looking to tackle on that front, one after another, as I said, that makes life as an end user easier within the ONINO ecosystem. The first one is accessibility. And one point that plays into the accessibility is, for example, the integration into exchanges such as Maxi. But there are also different things in terms of accessibility, like connection to other ecosystems, more ways to deposit and withdraw into the ONINO network. So that is kind of the first thing. Before you can use something, you have to have access to it. And that's the first thing that we want to tackle step by step. After that, there comes a lot of things around usability. One part playing into the usability is the launch of our own tokenization platform, as alongside many white label platforms to come. But also we have a cohort with developers running right now that will all create DApps that could eventually turn out to be the next biggest DApp everyone knows and everyone uses. So these are our efforts in usability, and we want to support this even further once we've cracked down on the accessibility. The third part, which is a prerequisite to growth and really underlying our vision, is creating an ecosystem where DeFi and real-world assets, so traditional financial assets that come onto the blockchain, meet and can exist together, and where one can make the other one better. A big part here is lending, for example, where you can invest into a tokenized asset and then use it in DeFi by putting it up into lending protocols. But there are so many more ways where we can create synergies between DeFi and real world assets. And this is ultimately our end goal with our own network, to create a place where you can not only see RWAs as investment, but have utility connected to real world assets on the blockchain. And the fourth one is kind of an open format, but we do see that once we've accomplished every single one of the 3 steps before, where once we've made our network accessible, put more things that are usable on the network, and then connect DeFi and real world assets, we are perfectly set for growth, and we're perfectly set for scaling and becoming the leader for European tokenization. There are a few things on the roadmap still for this year, in terms of our own platform, white label platforms, and the blockchain. And on the next slide, I'll just quickly give you a quick overview of things that we are still aiming to accomplish. While this year is almost coming to a close, there's still things we want to achieve. One major part is the ONINO tokenization platform with its upcoming launch, so our in-house platform, where we will be hosting more and more private and public tokenized asset rounds in the future. So these will be listings where you as users can directly diversify your portfolio, take into part in real yield paid out on-chain or off-chain, whether you choose to, and just invest into asset classes that you have never been able to invest before. In terms of white label platforms, Alex touched upon it already. Our goal is to launch multiple different white label platforms for different verticals, so they're not always the same. We've got a lot of different industries lined up. For example, one can be syndicated investment funds where people can come together, and all the legal structuring and all the hassle connected with syndicating something is taken care of and automated, and they can then invest together into deals they potentially never even got close to when they would have done so alone. And then on the blockchain side, the main focus for the rest of this year is really tackling down on accessibility and making our blockchain even more accessible than it is today. And these are things you can expect. This is really high level, but these are our focus points until the end of the year, and you will see a lot of more announcements around that. And then on a more personal but still ONINO related note, I was on Bits and Pretzels in the last week, which is one of the biggest tech and startup ecosystem events in Germany. And I just wanted to share a few learnings that are quite interesting, and also show that potential we still have left in blockchain. So generally, the ecosystem here in Germany is thriving, and it is really in a good place where there are many good ideas. And also, AI is still being the main narrative. So it is to be shown if this is a bubble that will eventually burst. Startups, just from a perspective that I've seen from other peers and also general investors, are under much more pressure today than they were a few years back, because now every startup, something that we also see in the crypto scale, is that it's not run anymore on ideas, it's run on actual results and actual business models. So there's a lot more pressures on smaller companies. And the most interesting learning, I've talked to a lot of people on the conference, and a lot of people I tried to talk about blockchain to, and it is still far from being mainstream. Most people still put Bitcoin and blockchain into the same basket. And that still shows that we still have so much room to grow. But everyone that understood it, they were really, really bullish on the next years, because on one hand, the institutional adoption is increasing rapidly. Almost every institution worldwide now has meaningful use cases in the financial sector on the blockchain level. Stablecoins are seen as a fundamental evolution in financial systems that will make every money transfer and rails that finance is done upon much more efficient. And tokenization is, on one hand, yet to be proven on a big scale use case for the consumers, but it can follow up on stablecoin success. And everyone that understood it on the conference was of the same opinion, that next to stablecoins, tokenization is the next big thing that will come out of blockchain technology. Just a few learnings from the conference. I think it would be interesting for you to see and know. It gives us a little bit perspective sometimes when we step out of our Web3 bubble. But it also gives us and shows us the potential that we still have to grow.
Thank you very much, Lucas, for the in-depth update. So yeah, last but not least, as always, we're coming to maybe the best part. I wouldn't say the best, but yeah, at least not the worst part, which is the monthly development team update. So yeah, as some of you have already followed along, during the last weeks, we have been busy with preparing and conducting a in-depth security audit together with a Berlin-based, very renowned security company called Cure53. And this audit has been now successfully completed. So yeah, and I just want to give you a quick rundown on what actually that whole thing is, why we do it, and what exactly was tested for. So yeah, for us as a security tokenization platform provider, of course, security is of the utmost importance. And that is why, as I said in the last weeks, we have spent the better part of our time conducting this audit together with true security experts with Cure53, just to ensure that every little piece of information and software on our platform is completely secure, including, of course, the most important, the investor personal data on our platform. So yeah, what has been done in this security audit? So Cure53 has conducted a comprehensive testing of all of the critical components on our application. First of all, the web app itself, as well as the user interfaces, if something could be spoofed or manipulated there. Second, the backend APIs and our business logic have been audited. And last but not least, the server and cloud infrastructure that we are using and how we have it configured. What exactly has been done and tested for? So Cure53, as professional auditors, have tested against all modern security attack patterns. First of all, the OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities. You may now rightfully wonder what the heck that is. OWASP is the Open Worldwide Application Security Project, quite a long name, therefore also the little short version here, which you can think of a project that continuously compile the currently most dangerous IT security threats or the threats and vulnerabilities that led to the most hacks within the last weeks and months. And then on a regular basis, they release these top 10 vulnerabilities, describe exactly what they are and what they can cause in case there is a vulnerability. And yeah, you can think of it kind of as a gold standard that is always up to date. It always provides an up-to-date view of the most critical security threats out there. And most auditors use these as a basis for their security audits. Second, they've also tested for logical bugs, permission issues, for example. So I'm not an admin. Can I make myself an admin? And have also tested for cryptographic weaknesses. And third, also all of the classical web application vulnerabilities, like, for example, transport security, replay or downgrade attacks, or also man-in-the-middle attacks, where, for example, I pretend that I'm a secure website, but actually I'm eavesdropping on the communication between you and a web application. All of these, just to name a few, have been tested in detail. And what I think is most important to notice is that Cure53 has conducted a so-called white box audit. So on the one hand, there are black box audits where basically the auditors just put your app through some automated processes and tests and see if they can somehow crack it, which is of course not so in-depth and not so secure. But we have conducted, on the other hand, a white box audit, which means that the auditors also had access to our full entire code base and could basically test out and audit and review every little single piece of code and details that we have built into our platform, and also allowed them to find even the most subtle issues that may arise in our platform. We have also received a detailed report and continuous live feedback from Cure53. So there were a few minor findings which we have directly fixed, of course, played back to Cure53, and they have then confirmed that our fixes basically follow the suggestions for improvements that they have made. And now in the end, that has finally secured that we have truly airtight security before our launch. And yeah, what is now the result of that? What does that mean now that we have conducted the successful security audit? That means basically that our platform is now fully security hardened and ready for the launch. And we're currently adding some final UX touches for an even more smoother user experience before it goes live. And other than that, everything is good to go from our side now. And yeah, in case you're interested in more tech details here, in case you want to know more about how such an audit is working, what's happening there, just hit me up. I'm always happy to have a chat with interested people. And with that, I think we can move on to the second half, which is the update on our blockchain. So yeah, first of all, we will launch a second testnet soon, which we're going to call a staging net. You can think of this as a second layer of testnet that just kind of sits between the current testnet and our actual mainnet. and just provides conditions and environments that are a bit more realistic and a bit more close to the actual mainnet than the current testnet. So yeah, this is also a best practice that all of the major blockchain networks are following. They have just like a testnet, which is an actual playground where you can actually, if you want to, you could also in theory mess up stuff there, could try out new stuff. And then before you actually deploy the stuff from this testnet to mainnet, you have a second testnet, which is the staging network. There you deploy all your changes and test them one last time with more realistic testing conditions. And only if these tests also pass, you then merge your stuff and your changes into the actual mainnet node client. So yeah, this is just on the one hand, a security measure, on the other hand, a measure to increase our developer experience. And yeah, this is what we're currently building behind the scenes on our blockchain side of things. And this is also a fun little task where we would need the help of you guys as our community. As you know, some of these testnets out there from other major blockchain networks have some interesting creative names out there. So there's, for example, Polygon Amoy, which you could take as an example. And we have just decided that now that we have a second testnet and not only one single testnet, we also want to start naming our testnets. So yeah, in case one of you guys has a cool creative idea on how we could name this staging network, that with a cool name that has a nice sound and matches the vision and the values behind ONINO, then just drop us a message in the Telegram group. We're more than happy to get your proposals here. And you, who knows, maybe be the one person to name the ONINO staging network. Then second, as Lucas has already announced, we are currently in the works of spinning up TradeVibe by CIDT, which is a technological partnership we are doing with Consider Done Technologies in order to enable you guys as community members to easily spin up and run your own Validate nodes without all of the IT knowledge required and all of the hustle involved. And yeah, as Lucas has mentioned before already shortly, the development of TradeVibe is progressing very well from what we've heard from CIDT. We have even have the first prototypes for testing out there that are currently being tested. We are calculating with a launch time rather soon than later. Also, the first beta testers will soon be contacted. And if you want to be one of these amazing beta testers for TradeVibe by our partner CIDT, you can already join the waitlist. You just have to visit this beautifully simple link here, tradevibe.app. And there you can just drop in your email and get on the waitlist and be one of the first people to ever see TradeVibe and launch your own ONINO mainnet node. All right. So far from the development side of things. And with that, I would shortly pass the ball back to Lucas.
Yes, thank you, Kai. Because I wanted to go into a question that was already previously asked in the community, and that is all around regulation and licensing. So question in itself was if ONINO is actively working with regulators to ensure MiCA and PSD2 compliance, and if we are actively pursuing any EU-specific license that is directly tied to tokenized securities. So for both of them, I can 100% say yes. So anything we do is really close to the guidelines that are put out there by regulators, and it's really close to us working in the compliant segment of what we can do on the blockchain itself. So we are 100% working towards PSD2 compliance, and we are also, with everything we do, compliant with MiCA in itself when it comes to, for example, stablecoin payments and such. In terms of the licensing for tokenized securities in the European Union, we are working on specific things in that front that will allow us to handle tokenized securities. And we can't share much more on that. But this is a news piece that you can expect quite soon when it comes to that front. And with that, I will give the mic back to Alex to round up this month's community update.
Perfect. Lucas, Kai, thank you very much. I think this was a really good community update and an interesting one, hopefully. Yeah, let's round it up. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions, as always, feel free to post them in the channels where this is being streamed. So in the YouTube comments, in the X comments, or on Telegram or Discord. And we'll be happy to follow up on all those questions and to get back to them. So again, from Kai, Lucas, and I, thank you very much for joining in, and see and hear you next month. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful rest of the week. See you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone, for listening, and see you soon.